Okay, multiverse. I'm going to be a pessimistic, nihilistic person and say, nah.
No, there's definitely a multiverse.
Yeah, I know
There's 100% a multiverse.
We kind of talked about that.
If there's not, I'm gonna make it up. I'm gonna do it.
This is where my mind goes. If there's a multiverse, then what about God?
Oh, I don't know.
Because it just goes up to God in my mind. Like, but that's what I think about as the ultimate thing in the ultimate force in the universe. I think is God, and if that's true, then how could there be a multiverse? And if there is multiverse, are there multi gods? You know, to me, there's God. He is the top echelon, so there must be. I don't know. That's where my brain goes.
That makes sense. I can see why that would be a logical conclusion to make with that insinuation.
God is a logical conclusion.
Yeah. It's a little bit not, but in some ways it's more logical than some other things.
Yeah, I don't want to stray too much on topic, but like that is where my brain goes as far as the galaxy, the universe. Because my knowledge of the universe, as far as much as scale goes, is like God, and then like what is it, quartz? Like that's the sizes I know or can comprehend or have any idea of.
Well, you've heard the thing that people say, God of the gaps.
No, I have not.
So do you understand? So I'll tell you what that is. God of the gaps is like, it's like the argument out that people like use as a scapegoat when they believe in God. It's to basically be like, as far as I don't understand it, that's where God fits in. And atheists despise that because they think it's a cop out. And technically they're right, because it's like God is the God of the gaps. It means, yeah, we know that God did this and this, but as soon as they're like, well, why did God do this? Then you're like, well, we don't know. He's mysterious. That's like annoying for people. For me too. But like, so that's kind of what you're saying. I just, that's what it made me think of. I know you're not saying that about God. You were just saying like, to me, that's as big as I can imagine is God.
That's the biggest thing I know.
Yeah.
I believe he's bigger than the universe.
Yeah.
He made the universe.
Yeah.
So that would make him bigger. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's interesting, because there's a whole, like, if we had better understanding of space, then it'd be like another thing that you put between what we know already and then God, because he's just out there always. He is kind of the God of the gaps. So that's interesting sorry, I didn't mean to like bring that up. It seems like a little bit of a jump sideways, but that's what I thought of when you said that. That's because that's kind of what we're describing when we say God. It's basically, as soon as you don't understand it, that's kind of where he fits in.
Well, let's bring it back to, do you actually still think there's a multiverse? And if so, how does that work?
Well, I don't know. Do
you want there to be?
Yeah, it'd be freaking
more
cool.
fun, right?
It'd be definitely cool for writing and stories.
Yeah.
I have so many different ideas where there's multiverse when it comes to my own personal writing that I'm like, doggone it, if somebody knows multiverse theory, I need to talk to them, because I have this idea. I want to see if this works. I think I've told you some of those ideas.
Yeah.
So it'll be like, what?
I'd be happy if I found out there was a multiverse. Like, nice.
Yeah.
Now we can get superheroes.
Yeah. There's a universe where I did this instead. I wonder what that's like. What I think would be cool is to look at all the different like multiverses of yourself and all the different choices you make.
Yeah.
And then just like look at it from the outside and kind of just judge for yourself. Like, all right, which one of those is better? And then I'd know what to do for my life.
Yeah.
You know, cause like, oh, the one where he took a left on Belmont Avenue.
Yes. And took a 95th.
And he turned right on 7 all the way up. Let's go back to Bellevue where you belong. Where you belong, Stuart. We watched we got center sources. We watched the Californians SNL sketch where.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember their names, but.
Bill Hader.
And the other guy. And they're like, let's get back to the highway. Go back home, Stuart. Where you belong. Oh, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And then she's like, traffic at this hour, it'll be jammed. What were we saying that for? It was like,
shoot. Oh, it was a perfectly good reason.
Oh, multiverse, because I was like, what if I took a left on this street? Then I'd become
perfectly good reason.
Yeah, I'd find the woman of my dreams if I turned this way, and I'd make the life choices I would, because I'd bump into a stranger who told me about the occupation that I didn't know I wanted, but that would be the one that would be the most fulfilling in my life.
I'm sure this has been thought of, but then wouldn't that mean if you interacted in any way with the other multiverse that the two universes colliding would cause a singularity and boom, it's over? I mean, they can't exist together. We're
talking about a fiction anyway. Or
so we're making up the rules as we go along. Yeah, so I get to have.
So it makes sense to you.
One multiverse version of me is rich, and he pays my bills. I'm making the rules now.
So I like to imagine when I'm looking at the multiverse like that, it's like I've got a TV remote and I'm like changing the channels of the universe.
Okay, so you're just observing. You can't actually interact with it.
No, it's exactly just watching it.
Although technically you are interacting with it by observing it, but whatever. Yes,
but I'm not affecting its outcome. Yeah.
You are affecting yours.
Yes, exactly. But I want that. I want
you're
that.
You're allowed to watch the Multiverse TV. I will allow it.
I want to be in the multiverse where I find the multiverse control room and I get the multiverse janitor to let me in so I can look at all the multiverse. Yeah.
He's got nothing better to do.
Yeah. I gave him a bite of my sandwich and he's just been nice to me ever since. It's like, hey, if you ever want to check out the multiverse room, just let me know. Maybe when God was on lunch.
I've seen some crazy shit.
You wouldn't believe, man.
You wouldn't believe.
You know that one gal down the street? Yeah.
On Sullivan.
Wow. Yeah. Get out of here, Devin. Oh man, multiverse. Now I had an idea for a story. Nobody take this because it's my idea. But I had this idea where there was a physical representation of two realities. And they were, like, you can imagine like two water streams. You've seen those waterfalls that are just like a stream of water. It looks like a curtain, but they're coming down and you can put your hand in it and interrupt the flow in that spot, right? But then the water kind of goes around you and continues on.
Yeah.
So I imagined two realities next to each other. I imagined a multiverse where that's the way that they were represented, is they were flowing water, where time was happening, but the water was just turning around and everything. And then people could interact with different times with each other. And I had this fantasy where it was sort of like sci-fi crazy.
That sounds like Tenet, but better, honestly.
Well, I haven't seen Tenet yet, so don't tell me.
I'm not spoiling it, but I'm putting into words what I imagine you were saying. Two parallel universes working together, basically.
So I imagined that these universes are staged in such a way. Sorry, my microphone keeps moving. These universes were staged in such a way where they're kind of adjacent to each other. And then I imagined that there were people who were charged with protecting.
But then imagine.
Pretend? Yeah. Pretend it. So I imagine that they're
parallel to each other.
Yeah, parallel to each other, juxtaposed in such a way, and they're a physical place that people found somewhere. Maybe there's like some weird celestial.
Janitor. Yeah, it's the multiverse janitor.
It's like a celestial control room that somebody in a spaceship somewhere found. And now that they know it exists, they have to protect it because it's like, I have
heard this before.
Yeah, people can mess with these realities if they can get in here. And so I had this fantasy where this is the physical place that people found, and now there's these group of people that are charged with taking care of this place. But then there's like drama ensues, and there's like a coup, and then there's people who are like nihilists who believe the universe shouldn't exist, and they come to like ruin it. And there's a guy who saves it, but the guy who comes in with some sort of laser shotgun, I don't know, some technology. He comes in with a gun and he shoots
the control boardroom.
He shoots into those little waterfalls where the time is represented. And so the story, like the dream I have about these places is that like there's one story which is about this control room that these worlds and universes are unaware of. But then there's the story about how maybe this stray shot that went through these worlds just ripped their worlds apart in these crazy ways. And you have like there's people displaced to other universes.
Yeah.
It's just chaos. Right.
That's the setup for the story.
Yes,
and the story,
that's the setup.
As you tell, I'm starting to remember this. The story follows like some protagonist who's on a planet with like, there's a whole reality up in the sky.
Yeah.
And it's letting all these monsters in. And it's like a post-apocalyptic world now in this reality on this planet.
And like one guy,
chaos.
Yeah, like how I imagine the story starts off is it's me, like like it's you. You're reading the book, but it's you, and he's going to his office job, and he's got a boring life. His girlfriend breaks up with him. He's just doing regular crap, and he's kind of all messed with that. And then all of a sudden, all of a sudden, like something happens, and you hear some crazy noises, and then there's just like a bubble that appears around his desk, and it like cuts his hand off, and then he's in this new universe, and he's like, what the heck is happening? All of a sudden he's being chased by these crazy like weird blob monsters and crazy things.
And
it's terrifying and dark planet. and he's running for his life, and he's like stuck on this new place without a hand, and like I just imagine like places on the planet are displaced to another place.
When you told me this story, I imagined this is a great premise for like a video game, an open world game, and your character in the beginning is given like this bionicle alien multiverse whatever arm, multi-purpose arm that does all the things you're going to use in the game for fighting, for clambering, and all this stuff. And it's all just like, yes, explore, like whoa, and you try to solve because we just as an audience we heard what happened, but you as a character person playing that game, you have no idea what's going on. You have to find out about the multiverse control room. And it's crazy by the way.
I hope I explained that well, because that probably went maybe some over some people's head. I probably didn't explain it well, but it's
probably
like in
too
my head.
smart. It's too smart.
I'm just really, it's a lot for people.